Okay, welcome back for another interesting interview. We're going to do a lit book talk today with the author of the children's book, Pelena Cosme. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Perfect. And I love it with your accent.
Likewise, I love your accent. Yes. And Helena, she is the author of the children's book Exploring London. So I'm excited to learn all about this book. As you know, I'm all for travel, and this is taking me out of my comfort zone. So I would like to just kind of discuss four, main topics like, the brainstorming behind your book, the actual process of getting the work done and publishing that book. And then what else do we have here? Oh, yeah, the business side of your creative masterpiece. And finally, I just want to end with any advice that you have for some authors or aspiring authors, anyone who's thinking about putting a book out there. Any tips? So let's get started. Let's first begin with tell us, who are you? Tell us about you.
I love that. Thank you, Lakeas. Thanks for having me on. Shout out to everyone, all my friends across the pond. This great pond that separates us. Really appreciate being on your platform. My name is Pelena Cosme. I'm a law graduate. Right now, I'm working sort of freelance as a copywriter, a PR assistant, and I've happened to write this book in between this. Um, and I have two daughters, Amma, who's 5, and Neri, who's 3. So just a juggle kind of aspect at the moment, obviously with COVID and things. So yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
That's awesome, actually. Yeah, you're doing a whole lot, but you're doing it well. I can see that. That's why I said let me get to know this author some more, dive into your story.
Yeah.
So yeah, like where did the story, you know, come from?
Right. It's based on our real life adventures. Myself and my daughters, we travel around our city, the city of London. We're on the east side of London. But becoming a mother, especially having 2 children under 2, I was just, having to rediscover myself and like, who am I in terms of motherhood? And I just got to know myself and just was comfortable with who I was. And that's an outgoing person. I mean, I can talk for years. And especially if you bring food, I can talk even longer. So I'm a very outgoing extrovert. And I was like, okay, cool. But I'm a mom now. Can I still be myself and be out and about as I love to do, sort of go to new spaces and galleries and events? And I thought, why not? And I started doing that with my daughters, and I would update my WhatsApp stories, and friends would be like, "Oh, where's that place?" I'm like, "Yes, down the road, or it's here in London." And like, really? And then, I hadn't really heard of it, so I became an unofficial tourist guide among my friends and family. And I thought, okay, everyone keeps asking me, let's put it on a lovely platform that's accessible. So I put it into a book form, and so that's what it really is. Exploring London with Amma and Neri is just an ode to exploring London with 2 Black British girls. And yeah, there's a series coming, and at the back of the book, we can recommend 10 other great family friendly places in London. So yeah, that's the way it came about.
I love that. I really do. I mean, the whole process, of going through motherhood and thinking, am I still able to do the things
Yeah,
that I did before? Enjoy life and live and adventure. I'm an adventurer as well, so or globetrotter. I love traveling and just exploring, even within my own backyard.
right, right.
So I love that you took that and you took that actual lived experience and got feedback from friends and family who are like, hey, what? Where's this place? Oh,
Right.
let me explain. Let me show you. Let me visualize it for you. So, that's what's up. So, yeah, well, tell me about the writing. Like, how long did it take before you're like, let me share this
Mm.
to now let me turn this into a story, and what did that look like for you?
Yeah, right. So my friend who's an author, but an author of adult books, shout out to Oink or Braithwaite. She wrote My Sister the Serial Killer. So I spoke to her. I was like, okay, babe, I've got this idea for a children's book. What do you think? And she was like, yeah, sounds dope. Do it. And I was like, I really want it to rhyme. Actually, I love rhyming books. Me and the girls have over 100 books in their room, so we're big on reading. Literacy is so important. So I was
Yeah.
like, I want to make it rhyme. So that took long, to be honest, the rhyming process and just the beat and making sure it's succinct and flows. So that took a while, but then also just confidence. I'm like, okay, I don't have a background in literature and writing. Who am I? Why am I writing a book? So getting over that hurdle of confidence and sort of self-defeating talk
Yeah.
also added to it, to be honest. So without that, it would have taken not as long, but it's part of the process. And
It
I'm
is.
happy to now can talk confidently to people about it. But yeah, so making it rhyme and just having confidence that yes, I can tell my story. This is a story about myself and my daughters traveling around our city. And I envision this, that one day people in, in America, in Africa, all over the other parts of Europe could also learn about London, could also, just connect with the book because it is diverse and inclusive in terms of the characters. So yeah, the process shouldn't have taken as long as it did, but it did. And again, I probably think the next one won't. It was part of my journey that I needed to go to. Because remember, I was still discovering myself. So I had to sort of get rid of old negative thoughts and really be positive about myself and this in this process.
I completely understand. It's a learning curve. And yeah, I love that you went the route with rhyming. I do. I also love rhyming books. They're just, I don't know, it's like poetry. It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Okay, so now I'm curious about the publishing aspect. Getting the book, like just putting it together and the illustrations and all of that. Like where did you
Uh,
start with that?
So yeah, well, my friend, she hooked me up with the illustrator. Shout out to Rashid, and we just we just connected. We just connected, and I love that he was passionate about the vision. It wasn't sort of like a money project. It was just actually, what, this sounds really good. I get the concept. I have a niece that also lives in England. Yeah, so he was down. He was really passionate. So that was really important. So I'm glad that connect worked. Um, and then just having to research, obviously, UK into publishing wise, the laws, the procedure here that's relevant to here. Um, the ISBNs, copywriting. It's tedious, but it needs to be done. To be honest, it is the boring aspect, but it's one of the most crucial because that's your work. You want to protect it. That's your creativity. That's your story. So you want to make sure you do it justice by just following the correct procedure. So doing that simultaneously as writing a book and preparing a book, I reckon was good because it showed me like this is what's going to look like in the future. This is what I need to do to get it out there. So it kept me in check as well. So I kind of did it that way myself, a lot of research, and it was empowering. It was empowering.
Right.
I wanted to be published traditionally, as we all do. I wanted to advance and the team of people, but one of my friends told me send it to 100 people, 100 literary agents and publishing houses, and if you don't go anywhere, self-publish. So the route chose me, or the route chose me, not me itself, because I would have wanted to go traditional, obviously. But so I became self-published. I did it myself on a printer, which was local, um, and just did it myself. So it's empowering. It was empowering. It was empowering.
Yeah, I'm sure. And as you're talking, I'm thinking about how like you went this route with the self-publishing area, and then you're in you're in the UK. So here we've got like all these print on demand companies, and I'm sure you have print on
Yeah,
demand
yeah.
companies too, of course. But I didn't even think about like, oh yeah, there's a whole different aspect to that, because where are your books available now, or where can we find your book?
On online bookstores. So I've got my personal website, but I do prefer people to go to my stockists online. So there's No Ordinary Bookshop. Shout out to them. This is booklove.com. There's so many. Layla's Book Club. I don't want to miss anyone out. We're going to bring hey. But all of them have been great. It's in over 10 online bookstores. So they've been really fantastic in terms of independent bookshops. Like shout out to them. They really make us just to do the work for us and really support and self-published authors. So I really have to just shout out to them for seeing the vision and wanting the book on their platform or in their physical shop. So without independent booksellers, where would we be? Where would we be? So yeah, shout out to them. They're amazing.
That's awesome. I haven't even explored this very much, the independent area. So yeah, like what made you get in touch with independent bookstore?
Yeah, particularly Black-owned ones. First of all, obviously the characters are diverse, so I really wanted to get in contact with them first, and just to support. They're independent. You can sort of walk into the store with your book, have a conversation. They see you, you see them, and just vibe and tell them about your book. Whereas with some of the big sort of bookstores, it's always very bureaucracy. You got to send this and that email. It's a big buying a merchandising team. It doesn't really work. Whereas with independent bookshops, it's just person to person. And I love to talk, and I'm quite a good seller and negotiator. So when I go in, I'll probably always have like 5 or 10 books left there, because they get to see my passion. They get to see me, and obviously providing it's the right time, they're not busy, or having a phone call, then yeah, they're really receptive to it. They can see the physical book. It's not an online version where they can't see the quality of the print, the colors, the size. So that's what I love about independent bookstores. And I think they're just amazing for the industry, and we really have to support them, all of them, but obviously particularly shout out to the Black-owned ones, because it's not easy and they are competing with Amazon. And I would say that with Amazon, I did put my book on it more for my international um, readers, those in America, those in Africa, because it's easier, it's cheaper for both of us if you kind of just get it on Amazon. But I do more recommend independent bookstores, because it's their livelihood and they can't compete at times with the behemoth that is Amazon.
Right.
Amazon, though. My book is on Amazon. Shout out to Amazon. I'm not saying anything bad, but yeah, it's a touchy subject, because obviously bookstores, independent bookstores, are seeing the effects of competing with Amazon. So that's going to be one of my tips as well, to do with Amazon bookstores. So definitely check it out. I'll let you guys know one of the biggest no-nos that you can possibly do as a self-published author. But yeah, that will be later.
Yes. No, I really love that you highlight that independent bookstore aspect, especially because in this time with the pandemic and everything, everyone is running to Amazon for like literally everything, and Amazon is providing, and they're a great platform, really, but these small businesses and bookstores, I know they're suffering. So yeah, the fact that I really like that. And anyone out there, support Black business and independent bookstores. And yeah, Pelena here, I love that you're doing that. That's so awesome. I'm happy that you just talked about that. Yeah, because I saw your book on Amazon, and I was thinking, you have a paperback available. And I was thinking, I want to ask you, any thoughts about an ebook, or is the ebook all on the independent?
Yes, ebook will come in time, to be honest. To get it on paperback was a nightmare, because anyway, I'll talk about the tips when not so the biggest no-no, but paperback for now. Remember, you can't be all things at the beginning, and I think self-published authors really need to just understand that and accept that, because you will burn out. You're doing everything, and it's rewarding and empowering, but if you take on too much early on, it can be quite debilitating. So the ebook eventually, let me see how the paperback does. And again, even with Amazon, I only put it like maybe 2 weeks it's been on there, and the book was released on the 1st of August. Again, to give me a chance to get more the independent stores, have them sort of have it first, let them have the book first, and then Amazon, that's more for later. So I didn't really push that. But yes, paperback for now. We'll do ebook and audio book and all of that later. Let's just one thing at a time. That was my stance on that in particular.
Yeah, I like that you're saying that too, because over here everyone thinks like, you write a book, get it onto KDP, get it onto Amazon like immediately, and Amazon takes so much control over your books. Like, you have an ebook format, they're just like, hey, for 90 days we don't want to see that book anywhere but on Amazon.
Oh, for real? Oh, I'm glad I didn't do that then.
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
glad I didn't do
it's like there's some enrollment program. It isn't like automatic or anything, but it
that.
is, you know,
Yeah.
Amazon will lock you down.
Look, of course, if all my potential readers and buyers say, "Oh, it's on ebook, I want it," then of course I will. That will be a priority. But that's not happening yet. And again, just give the independents a shot first. I think if we
Yes,
all did that, Amazon will get theirs. Come on, they need to get
it
theirs. But
will.
if we really just focus on the independents first of all, just think of it from their perspective, then yeah, we can do Amazon later. No one's
Exactly.
saying exit Amazon, cancel Amazon. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying let's give the independents a chance first because they are working so much. They're not in the industry to make a big profit, and their bottom line isn't great. They're truly passionate about books,
Mhm.
and yeah, and serving their community, have events there and things. So that was my big thing, just to make sure I'm just contributing to that first of all, and then the big giant that is Amazon come at a later stage. Absolutely.
Exactly. That's great. That I'm so happy you said that. So happy. So I feel like I got through a whole lot of my questions. I'm gonna backtrack though.
Yeah.
Backtrack to because I know a lot of authors when they're putting the book together, they
Mhm.
have that one stage where it's like the book is complete, and then you have to like you have the written part, you have your illustrations, and then it's like, okay, how do you put all of that together and then submit that to your print on demand companies, and there's like the book formatting part. How did you deal with that? Did you seek out any outsourcing, some freelancers to help you put the book together at all?
Yeah, that was really tough. But luckily, I had a friend, a great designer, Darlington, he just came through in a different way because I'm so rubbish at that. And I'm not trying to be all things to all people. So I remember both him and the illustrator, the designer illustrator, say, okay, what size do you want the book to be? I'm like, I don't know, it's up to you. They're like, it's
Oh,
your vision, it's your book, you tell us. I'm like, So then I had to research. I mean, what size would I want the book? And because I thought it was an unofficial tourist guide, I wanted a map. I wanted, the top 10 recommendations at the back. I was thinking, okay, I want it to fit in the average woman, mummy's bag.
yeah.
So then I settled for the 10 inches by 7 inches. But just formatting was a long process. Shout out to them because I would not have done it by myself. And we just did it on, or they just did it on Photoshop and all the other tools that they used. And then we submitted that to a printer. And again, with the printing, I didn't do it on demand online. I needed someone I could speak to, I could again build a rapport with. So when things
So sorry for this noise. Get out of here, ambulance.
So I had to take my kids to my mum's because I knew they'd be all up here. Who's auntie? I want to say hi and be waving, just hijack the whole thing. But yeah, so with the printer, I wanted to make sure I could talk to him. So I picked a local printer that I could go in and see and be like, hey, this bit, that bit, help me. You can see me face to face, and you will have mercy on me and pity me. And I'll take the girls with me too. So he was really helpful with the bleed, with just everything. Honestly, I've had great people just help me because I can't do it all. So
Yes.
yeah, just knowing your weaknesses and your strengths. So formatting, tedious. It's just as the legal bit, but necessary and finally done.
Right, right. And it's good. You took advantage of people in your circle. Like it sounds like you reached out to the right
Yeah,
people as far as design and formatting some of these legal aspects. And
I
all of
have to say as well, other friends who weren't necessarily close at the time, but I just reached out because they had already gone ahead before me and written a book. So they were really great, in terms of just advice, looking at different books and the quality that I wanted to replicate. Was it gloss? Is it matte? Just really doing the legwork. So I really appreciate this. It's my name on the book, but it really was a community of people who helped, who supported, encouraged, so yeah, my name doesn't really should be Pelena Cosme and et al. To be honest, because there was so many, so many people who really helped. It definitely wasn't a solo thing by any stretch of the imagination. So shout out to them, honestly.
that's really nice. I'm happy you shout out the team.
Yeah.
But But yeah, of course, your name, Pelena Cosme. This is your creative masterpiece. So that's, you own it, own it. I just have a couple more questions before I ask for some advice for someone who is writing a book. You mentioned in the beginning a bit about book two, and that immediately heightens my interest because you're talking about travel or just getting to know certain icons in London, more icons than what's in the Exploring London book. So yeah, just, you don't have to give too many details. I know we don't want to like, spoil, a spoiler, but what is this book generally about, like synopsis?
Yeah, it's another place, another great place in London. And in the first book, it's based around London Zoo. Very iconic place, amazing place. We've been a couple of times. The girls love it. So it's another iconic place, and this time it's not little Neri who needs help. It's big sister Amma, and she's meant to be the big, kind of confident big sister. So I love that it's going to be a different approach. And just in terms of the book and the characters, I really wanted to make sure it was about my daughters and their personality shines through. So the first book and the second book will be in a point of view of Amma's first person from her 5-year-old lens. I had to make sure I added their father in as well, because there are a lot of children's books that omit the father, but I think Black fatherhood is really important. But I was conscious that maybe not all the readers will have both mom and dad at home. So I made sure I introduced him in the back. I think he only features in 2 pages. But I still kind of needed him there, wanted him sort of there. There's amazing books, but I don't see Black dads in it. I Love My Hair, Anastasia Tarpley, or I'm a Pretty Little Black Girl, Betty K. Bynum. So I really want to introduce Black Father, or Here Anyway is a very popular book, Look Up, by Nathan Bryan. So I really wanted to make sure dad was involved, even if he just made a cameo.
Cameo.
Just to do that. Just to do that. But obviously the amazing hair love, come on, we love that. We have that. I mean, obviously dad was front and center, so that's important. So I really wanted to make sure I included dad. But yeah, so he'll make another cameo in book 2 too. But yeah, it was just about, the second book is really good. It's done, it's written, to be honest. But as a self-published author, you're still trying to make sure that you market this book as best you can and think of the best time to introduce book 2. But it's there and it will come when it's time. I know it will. The right time, it will be out.
Right. I'm really excited. I'm excited to explore London with Amma and wait, what is Amma and
Neri. I love it with your accent, seriously. Neri.
Neri. Amma and Neri, yes.
And we want to do international too. We want to do international. I've traveled with them as well. We've been to, where have we been to? We've been to Dubai, we've been to Spain and Portugal, Croatia. So definitely have to do some international travels up in there. But if you guys invite me to America, I'll do the exploring Philadelphia or anywhere.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely. In Africa, of course. So yeah, definitely want to make it a little series, definitely.
Yes, that's definitely the angle. I was thinking like you're already heading there for, the series of Amma and Neri exploring their world. Oh, I love that. That's
so
why
important for kids, honestly. And I have to mention, before I forget, an important fact is the book actually came about as well through. So once I was like, okay, I'm going out. Friends are saying, where you going? Where that place at? I want to come. I started doing research, and there's a study by the Edelman Intelligence that said that Black and Asian and minority ethnic kids are not experiencing the outdoors and outdoor play as much as their white counterparts. I think the white counterparts was 71%, and then the minorities was 56%. And I think it's UK specific. I'll have to double check. So I was like, oh no, we want to then, so the book as well is an ode to sort of exploring outdoor play, which is so vital, especially in this age where you can be indoor and do everything from indoor, all the food from indoors, you just experience everything from inside your house. So it's really important to just remember that the kids need to get fresh air, social, emotional development. Obviously it's COVID, be careful, definitely. But there's still ways of doing it, even in this time, sort of parks, where there's space and distance, and you can still sort of do that. So yeah, that I have to definitely mention that the book did come about through that study that sort of said, Black, Asian, and minority ethnic kids aren't having access outdoors as much as their white counterparts. And come on, childhood and outdoor play is so vital for kids,
It,
honestly. When they close parks and that's the first thing they do, I'm like, where are these kids going to go? Where they're going to go? They need that outdoor space, So yeah.
right. I love that you want to highlight that as well, because this is how we create well-rounded,
Right.
active, healthy,
Absolutely.
global citizens. Like, people have to be culturally aware, and that's just another reason why I said I'm going to reach out to you, because I already know, being here in the United States, I want people to learn about other places. And your book is definitely going to allow for that. But everything that you're sharing with me now is just elevating the reasons of, like, the importance of us checking this out, and the concepts behind your book, which is even more awesome. So I'm going to now just wrap it all up with you giving, you've already dropped a whole lot of, like, golden nuggets, for real. But anything that you can kind of add to encourage someone who's feeling discouraged as they're writing, or like, I don't know, any tips you have, because it is a process. The whole publishing industry is intimidating, but you did it. So anything you can share to help.
Absolutely. First of all, I'd say you are qualified to write because you are a citizen, you're a human being, and you have stories to share, experiences, whether real or imagined. So definitely don't discount yourself or disqualify yourself when you are qualified to write. Everyone's got a book in them. I know that's a quote from someone famous, I can't remember right now. And I didn't believe at the time, but now I do realize that everyone has a book in them, everyone can write, and there's no qualifications that for you're a human being. That's it. That makes you qualified. So definitely don't discount yourself before you've even tried. So if you do have a book, especially children's book, definitely get that pen to paper and do that. Just look at great books that you love. Obviously, if you're a parent about to write as well, just look at books that's within your circumference, maybe the kids' rooms. Just see what you're liking, see what you're seeing, how the kids are reacting to certain books. Start using that as your market research as well. That's a really amazing tip. I would say also, when it comes to Amazon, that's a biggie. Just be wary in terms of publishing with them. So using the KPD and things. So what I did is I uploaded my already designed book outside of them to it. Because with bookshops, both independent and the major ones, you can't take them a Amazon published book because there is a bit of friction, and it's almost like Adidas or Adidas having some sort of platform where you can design trainers, and then you designed it looks dope, and then you try and get a Nike store to pick it up. Are you okay? Like, is that going to happen? That's not going to happen. So people are doing that. So a lot of self-published authors are like, okay, cool, KPD's there, Ingram Spark is there, a great resource. But just be mindful, because then you need to sell, or you want to approach booksellers, and they're like, we don't mess with Amazon.
Yes.
So they don't mind if it's printed on there, of course, but to have it published physically on their, by their programs and tools, and then you're like, yeah, can you stop my book? They'll check it, they'll flick through it, designed by Amazon. It's just, they won't touch it with a barge pole. So and that's the main thing I was trying to stare at. Please be careful. If you can get a designer, outside platform, and then just have Amazon print it and just be on the platform, that would be better. Or unless you just want to stick to Amazon and you know that it's going to sell great on Amazon, you don't need independents or like your local Barnes and Nobles or anything like that, then I understand that. But just be wary of that, because a lot of authors don't know that, and then find themselves wondering why they're not getting stocked in bookshops. It's because it's done by Amazon and it's industry thing. Also, another tip, know the industry. I mean, if there's publications of industry publication, like there's one here called the book, what is it called? Is it called the book? Let me not say the Book Time. It's sort of like an industry standard sort of magazine, latest books, latest news. So if you have those equivalents, keep updated with what's happening in the world, because you're a self-published author, but what you're really saying is that you're part of the industry now. You are part of the book industry. So get to know it, see what's happening, see what books are making the top 10 lists, just keep abreast of the developments in this industry that you are now in. So that's really important. That's really important. I was going to say one other thing, but it's slipped my mind now. But yeah,
No.
those are the main things I would say. Just don't disqualify yourself. Please don't. Watch out for Amazon. Use kids' book, use the things around the books around you. And just, keep abreast of the industry art. And I've remembered marketing. You need to become a marketer. You need to study PR and marketing. I mean, as I was preparing for the book, I did like 7 or 8 courses: marketing, PR, media training, writing, essay writing, public speaking, because this is what we envision to do, right? It's not just writing a book and then you're a hermit. You're having interviews, international interviews, you're doing book signings, perhaps, going into schools to read the book when COVID is over. So just think of all the things that author would do and just then try and teach yourself a little about it. So you're aware. Find out what makes journalists want to, write about your book. Find out what angle they're looking for, what they like, what they want the emails to look like. Just get to know, because when you have your book, you want to push it to the world, to the marketplace. So you need to know marketplace industry standards. I'm currently doing a communications course because I need to ace this thing, because again, I'm talking to great people like yourselves from all over the world, and you really want to build a rapport, show your charisma, beyond just the book. Be likable, approachable, but also do the industry standard things. Don't be those authors where you don't know what we're going to say and it's touch and go. Be articulate, be professional, but you have to prepare for these things if it doesn't come naturally to you. So definitely become a marketer. You have to. There's online courses, free or not. Definitely invest in that. I mean, I want to do a journalism course. I want to understand things from their point of view. It's quite deep.
It is. It is. Wow, you dropped so much useful information. Thank you. Really, this is awesome. I love this entire session that we are having. And I didn't get a chance to mention, but in the earlier part of this interview, I'll make sure to have an image of your book, but also I'm going to share it again, and I'll probably just like attach it here or there or somewhere, maybe between the two of us, just so that people are able to see your book, because this is something that needs to be, well, explored. Let's go exploring London and the future adventures of Amma and Neri. Yes. And even as you were just talking, there's something else that I wanted to mention. You hit on so many things. I'm like, oh, let me follow that up with this.
I'm sorry, it's a quick fire tips.
But it's great. It's so much useful information for someone. I was just thinking, like, keeping in mind the climate, the not so much political climate, but even that, like the current events, as far as when it comes to marketing your book, because that is a whole monster in itself, pushing your book out there. And you're doing that. I think you're doing a great job. I mean, I saw your book, and the title stood out to me immediately because I'm all for adventure. And
absolutely. I mean, you're the most adventurous one, like 7 years and years in another country. Wow. That takes so much guts that I would never have had back in the day. It's great to really go out of your comfort zone, and look, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So that's really amazing.
Thank you. But you're planting seeds. You're planting those seeds with your books. So I thank you. I thank you. I hope anyone who's watching, and watching your journey as a writer, like, sees this seed being planted, and the tree that will grow, and the fruit, they eat it. Oh my goodness. And much prosperity to you. I wish you all the best, and thank you.
It's been great. Thanks for coming on the platform. Thanks everyone. Please continue to stay safe, stay well, and best wishes for everyone.
For sure. Okay, well, I'm going to let you go, and take good care. Thank you again.
Everyone, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.